Okay, so if you're here, you've watched the first video of this tutorial, which was how to put the model in the Live 2D folder. If you don't need to adjust your model that way, you can just put it straight into the item folder. It doesn't matter. But I'm going to show you how to pin that item. So we're going to go to the item, and let's just pin that item. So I'm going to search the game. No. What is it? Controller? Furry controller hands. I'm going to put it above my model, and I want to make sure that I click configure / fine tune the Live 2D item. And now here, if you watch the previous video, this is important. Let's say you did use the hotkey function to kind of change the position of the elbows and forearms. This is where you would go ahead and say that you want to use hotkey triggers. So I'm going to go ahead and leave that on. And now let's change the colors of this model. It's the same as I do for most of my other Etsy downloads. I draw them in white so that you can color them easily. We're going to hit yes. And now let's try and make this match our model. So this one, everything that's like for the controller specifically is literally says controller at the beginning of it. The rest of it is like fingers. So we have the controller pieces. We have an index finger, we have just the furry fingers, and then we have individual nails and individual paw pads, we have a palm, and we have a forearm. So let's just kind of go down the list and color some stuff. Let's color the controller itself. Let's just do the main controller color back. Let's make it yellow. And then there's a controller front. It's really small, but you can separately color the front, so we can do like red. We'll do the top panel color. We can do pink. Doesn't really matter. Obviously pick colors that match your stream. And as always, the shadow is separate, so if you don't like the gray look to it, you can select it and change the color of the shadow. Or if you don't like the shading, you can just lower the alpha and erase it entirely to match the style of your model. So I'm actually going to change the shading color of the back of the controller. Make it orange, and I want to make it a little lighter. There we go. See, and then if you blast screen, you can make it kind of neon. So like, just tinker with it. The bumpers have, you can set colors for the bumpers. There's an L2 and then there's an R2 up there that I don't think is really shown. Controller button color. Sure, okay. Oh, I need to fix, see this piece? That's supposed to follow these lines. I have to fix that. So when I send this out, it should work for you. Now let's change the forearm color. And let's just try to match our model. Just a little more purple, a little more blue. If you know your character's actual hex code, that makes it a little easier. Oops. Okay, let's just put it right on here. Let's see if I can't get that a little closer. That's pretty close. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to take note of that color. So I'm going to open the notepad, and I'm going to copy this, and I'm just going to kind of name it like skin color and paste it there. That way I won't have to try and like get it perfect every time. Okay, let's change the shadow. Oh, I have to adjust the shadow to make the shading correct as well. So just for now, I'm going to go ahead and make this like this. I'll just lower the alpha. Let me make a note. Okay, so I've, whoops, I made a little list there. Okay, let's do the marking color. And let's just try and make it match this character. Oh, that was pretty close. Let's just, I think, add a little more saturation. Cool. Oh, actually, let me open the marking color, and I'll make note of this. Oh, goodness, my bird is trying to climb all over my mouse. Okay, and now let's do the same thing for the palm. And if you want to search, don't click cancel, and don't click OK, and don't click the X. Just double click over here in the void on the background, and then you can search. So I'm going to search for palm color, and I can just paste that last color that I used. Palm shadow. I also need to set the palm shadow to multiply. And then we'll do the same for the fingers. Paste. Yeah, see, when it's set to multiply, it darkens automatically. It's a little too dark though, so let's lighten it up a little bit by just making it a little more transparent. Oh, the finger, the index finger. Let's do the marking color for the index finger. Oh, I have to change the index finger to multiply as well. Show me the index finger shadow. I'll just set it to like that and then make it a little transparent. And now you'll notice the line art looks kind of wonky because I drew the line art in gray. That way if your model has colored line art, you can match the colors. So I'm going to do the index finger line, and let's make it this color. Okay. So now what I can do is I can click away, and if I just search line, it will show all of the pieces that are on line art. So let's do the finger lines. I need to do the forearm line. I need to do the palm line. Let's do the paw pad line. The index nail line can match too. So all of these can just be the same. Okay, now let's do the paw pads and the nails. So the nails are kind of a dark blue, so let me just search nail underscore color. That way I won't have to look for like nail shadow, I won't have to look through nail liner, it's just going to be nail underscore color. Let's do a dark color. There we go. Okay, and now I can just paste all of those. Whoops! I accidentally clicked OK. And I don't know if I'm able to actually go back and edit it. Okay, so if you accidentally click OK, let's delete the item. Let's go back to pinning it again. So let's look up controller, select, put it above the model, and let's click configure and fine tune. We do want to use the hotkey. Let's hit save, and let's hit yes. I do want to continue coloring it. So it did save my previous colors. That's very handy. Nail underscore color. That's good to know that it will save that. So click OK, and now let's paste all these colors. I'm not going to do it for this other arm, just because I don't want to make the tutorial too long. Now let's try to make it match the beans. So let's search paw pad. So this is called paw pad underscore color. And then we can do the index color. Oh, again, I have to fix the shadow on the paw pad. Because they're all just loading as gray. Oh, well, yeah, they're all loading as gray. They're supposed to just like automatically shade it. My Tamagotchi is dying. Yeah, because see how the nails, like, I didn't have to change the shadow because it's set to multiply. But this one isn't set to multiply, so it's still showing the default gray color. So I'll fix those things. But okay. For the sake of this tutorial, I'm going to go ahead and say that let's just pretend that all the colors are perfect. And let's just kind of try to line this up with our model a little bit. I think that's okay. For some models, you'll notice, especially if you have a full body model, your elbows may not like super line up. So that's why in the previous tutorial I set to control F12. This might help you get it to line up if you tinker with the position of the arms using the hotkey. But for now, this will be okay. And let me show you one more thing you can do. So let's go to our regular model. Since we currently have our Live 2D model loaded, this is an item. So when I actually go to the settings, it's going to show my Furry model's settings, not the arm settings. You can't see the arm settings when it's attached as an item. But let's go to customize my model in the settings. That way I can just erase these the forearms. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to customize model. We are going to do customize multiply screen. And now I can turn the arms invisible by just selecting that art mesh and then turning the alpha to 0. That other finger. Okay, let me just search finger. Your artist may not have named your stuff, and if that's the case, it's going to be like art mesh 1 through 10,000. And that's a thing to consider when you're commissioning someone that rigs things. Okay, so now my arms are invisible, or my forearms rather. So I'm going to click OK, and I want to set them turning invisible to a hotkey, so let me just go do that. So let's create a new expression here. So let's do forearms off. Hotkey action, this is going to be an art mesh color preset. And I'm going to hit record settings, and so you'll notice it said that I have changed the color of 14 art meshes on my model. Those 14 art meshes are set to 0 on the alpha, which means turn them invisible entirely. And then you can set this to a hotkey. I'll just set it to P, since I don't think I have any other things set to P. I'm just setting it as a literal random key. You'll notice most of these other things, I write down what key I've set it on. That just makes it a little easier. So when I push P, the arms turn invisible, and so now I can actually, kind of better align this. Oh, I don't want to pin it to that elbow part. So let's try to just stick it on the chest. There. It's not perfect, but, it works, especially if you're going to put something in front of you, or like if you're just going to have your model down at the bottom like this. You probably don't even need to erase the forearms, but if you wanted to show more of your model, this was how you would do it, I guess. And now what I can do, if I want to be able to toggle these arms on later and then turn them off later, we can set the pinned item to an item scene. So let me go to the item scenes. Here you would create a new item scene. I'm just going to name it controller arms arm group. That way if I decide to put other arms on there, please watch a tutorial on an in-depth item pinning tutorial. It will cover significantly more. And to make sure that I'm saving the furry controller hands to this scene, make sure it's blue, click save, and now I can set the controller to turn off and on with a button. So let's go back to my models hotkeys, and let's create a new one that says controller on. So I'm going to set an not an expression. I'm going to set an item scene, and the item scene is going to be the one that I made called controller arms. And I don't know. I'm going to put it on the same key as P. That way, when I push the controller arms button, it will just activate both of these hotkeys at the same time. This little error code means you have two hotkeys set to the same button. But now when I push P, those arms come on, and then it will activate this hotkey, which makes the forearms invisible. So that's kind of a way to, add some arms to your model. They're not the most in-depth, but there's not an option for furry models, so I decided I wanted to add an option. So there you go. Hopefully that makes sense. Please watch a item pinning tutorial in more depth. Please. Thanks.